people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Okay, we'll start with this. Another segment of Ring IQ Hate Mail. And let's make this abundantly clear that I'm only addressing the people that addressed me, the people that reacted to this image of Clarissa Shields. Oh no, I'm not addressing an entire ethnic group or an entire race, just the bozos that got in their tits over this doctored image of Clarissa Shields with a disproportionately big mouth, because that's what she's known for. She's known for having a big mouth. Some chose to interpret the image some other kind of way. Casual Brown and many others interpreted the image as being racist. But what's racist about it? Nothing. They just can't refute what the image implies, so they try to win the argument some other kind of way. What's supposed to be the trump card? Accusing every man, woman, and his dog of being a racist whenever you disagree with them, and in effect taking all of the meaning out of the word based on how you so easily misappropriate it for personal gain at your own convenience. Well, it's supposed to be racist now to put Clarissa Shields in an unflattering light. Because I have to like Clarissa Shields, otherwise I'm a bigot and a racist. Is that the way that it works? It's not a flattering picture. It wasn't supposed to be. Guy who goes by the name Gorilla Smoke USA said, "This shit reminds me of the media during the Jim Crow era in the United States, where they would grossly exaggerate black people's body features to create a wave of hate. Horrible Jim Crow thumbnail." So basically what you're saying is that you have to be Jim Crow to dislike Clarissa Shields. You don't think that's a bit extreme? No, because this is the methodology for some individuals to have their way, to accuse people of being bigots and racists in the hope that those people will then grovel. I'm not about to do that. And beg for forgiveness when it's not written anywhere that you have to like Clarissa Shields. I'll go a step further that she's an ugly woman. She's ugly inside and ugly on the outside. But when I say this, I'm talking about one person. One. Not some, not several, just one. And if your immediate reaction is to try to make this a race relations issue, it's because you figure there's strength in numbers. You can't really castigate any one individual for not liking any other individual, but if you turn it into something else, you deliberately misrepresent what's being said so that you can involve all these other people trying to gatekeep. The shit is weak. And it doesn't work. For all of the pseudo-civil rights activists you can find online, where are these people when Clarissa's fighting? Where are these people when it's time to purchase a ticket so that you can be there, so you can support her? So where were they when she was making her ring walk for the Danielle Perkins fight and the production team panned over to all of those empty seats? Where were they when she made her pay-per-view debut with Marie-Eve DeCare? Years ago, I can almost guarantee you that not a single one of these bums actually bought that fight. And they think it's any recompense pretending to be Jesse Jackson online. Is this you trying to make it up to Clarissa? Many of you guys went to the movie theater when her biopic came out not but a few months ago, I promise you. It wasn't a lot of people, because that's what the numbers show. So spare me the Civil Rights Act. The fact of the matter is, you don't have to be a bigot or a racist to think that Clarissa Shields is an ugly person. Ugly on the inside, ugly on the outside. Some of you guys are ugly too. But I'm not talking about an entire group of people or an entire race. I'm talking about you guys specifically. It's a pretty hard cope to suggest that anybody that might find you unappealing or you unattractive must be Jim Crow. No, you're just ugly. And so is she. You think you can gatekeep the conversation with your pseudo-outrage and your pseudo-activism. Another hard cope. The power you wish you had, because for some reason there are people out there that think they have control over what others think and what others say. Another hard cope. When at the very most, the argument that you're making is a haphazard guilt trip. That should anybody not like Clarissa Shields or what she's doing, well, they must be a racist.
Because people have to like her?
And I suppose this also applies to you, too. People have to like you, because if they don't, they're Jim Crow. Maybe this shtick will go over better with white liberals.
And what is their white guilt? But doesn't work on me, because I ain't white. Not Caucasian.
Not a racist either, but I do think she's ugly, and I don't have to apologize for that.
And I think that many of you are pathetic and ridiculous.
These would-be watchdogs you find online and their mob mentality that doesn't amount to much outside of that digital environment.
Oh no! The bums on Twitter are mad at me!
You've been sitting around all day watching Dr. Umar videos on YouTube, filling your head full of nonsense, thinking that you can bully people online into subjugation, the power you wish you had. It's supposed to be a capital crime that you think one woman of the same race as another is better looking.
And more gracious, more graceful.
That's how you bums cope with being bums. That's how you bums cope with being ugly.
That shit ain't gonna work. You've taken all the meaning out of the word.
Because you've misappropriated it for too long, injected it in too many conversations where it had no place. And at the very most, the argument you're trying to make is in pursuit of sympathy.
How pathetic is that that's your trump card?
Your go-to. That whenever you have a disagreement with someone, you're gonna accuse them of being Jim Crow, and they're supposed to go along with this.
Snap back to reality, sweetheart. You ain't got that kind of power.
Clarissa's a bozo, and you guys are a bunch of lame brains.
Talking to you specifically. Not an entire ethnic group, not an entire race. Let's make that abundantly clear. I'm talking to the people that were talking to me.
You don't like it? Well, show me somebody who ever got rich off of you liking them.
'Cause it's not Clarissa.
Shit is pathetic.
Elsewhere in the world of boxing, unified middleweight champion Janibek now says Carlos Adames is the only one he wants.
A week ago, unified middleweight champion Janibek was calling for a fight with the super middleweight king Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, just 7 days later, it's another title holder in Kanelai's own division who says he is the sole opponent for him. I need that third title, right now. I'm not interested in any other fight except for the one that gets me my third belt. Kanelai's account on X posted on Monday. He soon added, Carlos Adames, I told my manager, you're the only one I want to fight. Now it's your turn. Talk to your team and let's make this fight happen. No excuses, no delays. Let's give the fans what they want. Canelai is a 2016 Olympian who now holds the IBF and WBO titles at 160. He won the WBO interim belt at 160 in May of 2022 and was upgraded later that year and defeated Vincenzo Gualtieri, then IBF champion, in October of 2023. In Canelai's sole appearance of 2024, he took out Andre Mikhailiovic in 9 rounds. In October, earlier this month, he knocked out his third straight unbeaten opponent, putting away Anuel Namasenge in just 5 rounds in Canelai's home country of Kazakhstan. He is now 17-0 with 12 KOs.
It didn't make a ton of sense to me that Janibek Canelai, out of the clear blue sky, started calling for a Canelo Alvarez fight, leaving that unfinished business unfinished in the middleweight division and setting his sights on the man to beat at super middle.
I would rather see Janibek Canelai achieve undisputed at middle before he goes to challenge Canelo at super middle. It can't hurt his chances.
I think he can.
It would strengthen the argument that he is deserving of a Canelo Alvarez fight like Jermell Charlo was, then undisputed junior middleweight champion, when he got that opportunity.
Let Janibek run the gauntlet, and if he makes it through, go get Canelo.
Which I don't even think would be a bad fight, by the way, because I don't think Janibek is going to spend 36 minutes circling away from Canelo like Edgar Berlanga did, like Jermell Charlo did. That if Janibek were to get that opportunity, he would at least try to win the fight. Not just survive it, he would try to knock Canelo Alvarez out, and in effect, probably get himself knocked out, but it would be entertaining.
Carlos Adames.
What is intended to be build-up for a Janibek versus Adames fight, I find nauseating, because these guys are not big ticket sellers, you understand? They're not big draws, neither Janibek or Carlos Adames, and theoretically, that should make making a fight between them relatively easy, since you don't have to spend an arm and a leg to do it, but for what feels like 2 years now.
All they've been doing is arguing online.
And what about Erislandy Lara, the WBA champion who's in his early 40s? When is somebody going to come along and take that belt from him? Because I noticed that Janibek doesn't spend as much time on Lara as he does on Carlos. Things are a little bit more cordial between Janibek and Lara, but all the same, they need to fight. They need to fight each other. And I'm a little bit surprised that after over a year in the sport, Turki El Sheikh hasn't used his means and his money and his muscle to put these guys in the ring with each other. Janibek's last 2 fights,
Neither of them were top-ranked shows. The last fight was promoted by Nomad Promotions in Kazakhstan, and the one before that was promoted by No Limit Promotions in Australia.
to where I don't think Top Rank would have any reservations against Turki El Sheikh using Janibek on one of his Riyadh season shows or his Ring Magazine shows.
I don't think they'd have a problem with that.
If Turkey were interested, it would seem that he isn't. Now, there's supposed to be an alliance between Top Rank and the PBC to do a series of fights amongst themselves moving forward. And Carl Moretti of Top Rank mentioned a Janibek Alimkhanali versus Carlos Adames fight that they were said to have discussed at length.
So do it.
Now, who would be the lead promoter? I can't say, not here and now. Though based on Janibek Alimkhanali's last 2 fights, it doesn't give me the impression that Top Rank is about to break the piggy bank to ensure the rights to that fight. That if push comes to shove, that might be a PBC show.
We still don't know what's going to happen after July when Top Rank's broadcast deal with ESPN ends.
But on the predication that Janibek Alimkhanali faces Carlos Adames at some point in the not-so-distant future, whether it's a top-ranked show or a PBC show, I like his chances to win.
Even if it's on a PBC show?
Yes, because in spite of the implied funny business and the perils of being the away fighter on someone else's promotion, I believe Janibek can take the fight out of the judge's hands. I believe he can stop Carlos Adames.
At which point, it doesn't matter who the lead promoter is. Top Rank, PBC. If you knock the guy out, it really doesn't matter.
I think he knocks him out. And I think he knocks out Arislandi Lara, too. Lara's only really made it this far by fighting pedestrian-level competition for years now and being sparsely active. Lara doesn't fight that much.
And when he does fight, it's not against anybody good.
Case in point, the PBC have not one, but 2 middleweight champions on the same side of the street, but absolutely no effort has gone into making a unification match between them. Lara seems more and more like just a placeholder until somebody better comes along to take that belt from him.
Could it be Janibek?
It should be. It's only right. Undisputed is all the rage in all these other weight classes. So why not middleweight?
I'm not even that big on Janibek Alimkhanali, but just based on the state at the weight, I think he stands the best chance of becoming this division's undisputed champion, so long as he can get the fights.
See if he can. Finally, in men's heavyweight news, Fabio Wardley is in line for world title shot within 12 months, says Frank Warren. Fabio Wardley will box for the world heavyweight title within the next 12 months if he can beat Jarrell Big Gravy Miller. That was the roadmap laid out by promoter Frank Warren, who has matched Wardley with Big Baby Miller for the WBA interim title at Ipswich Town's Portman Road on June 7th. Undefeated Wardley, 30, is currently 18-0 with 1 draw and 17 knockouts and has climbed to number 9 in the Ring Magazine rankings, while he is currently the number 1 ranked heavyweight by the WBA. As such, they have agreed to sanction this 12-round showdown for their interim title. Warren says that will line him up perfectly for a world title shot. The Hall of Fame promoter told The Ring, if he wins this, he will fight for the world title within 12 months. He beats him, and he won't sit around waiting. He will have a fight or 2 in between, but a world title within a year. Jarrell Miller represents a massive step up, and it needs to be given what is at stake. This is for the interim belt, and I know some fans don't value them, but these are the things that put you in position as far as sanctioning bodies are concerned, where you can't be ignored. This will be Wardley's first fight since he demolished Frazier Clark inside of a round of their British heavyweight title rematch in Riyadh last October. Miller, meanwhile, is without a win since March of 2023 when the 330-pound New Yorker stopped Lucas Brown in the 6th round of their Dubai contest. He has since been stopped by Daniel Dubois and drawn with Andy Ruiz, but insists Wardley has bitten off more than he can chew here. Warren said, this is a big step up for Fabio. This is it, and we've got to see what he's about. When you look at him, you've got to remember, he's had no amateur experience. He's come off of the white-collar circuit, and it says a lot about him, what he's done and what's managed to achieve. With that background, he's a fighting man at heart, and he loves it. He's a great ambassador for boxing. He speaks well. He's always very pleasant, even though the stuff at the press conference was crap. He can fight, too. He was in the fight of the year last year, and then, in the second one, he left no doubt with maybe the knockout of the year. He does the business here, and then we will know he is ready for that step to the world title. What Frank Warren is anticipating in the next 12 months is that the WBA title will go vacant, that Fabio, if he can actually hold his position, won't have to challenge Usyk for it, the current WBA champion.
He's got to run this gauntlet, make it past Jarrell Miller, and then, if he does, he has to face the winner of Hunter versus Pulev,
which by then could be for the full title. Usyk is about to face Daniel Dubois. You figure that if he wins, he may retire off of that. He doesn't have very many fights left. If he loses,
and Daniel becomes WBA champion, that's an in-house situation for Frank, where he'd have both boys, Fabio and Daniel, so it's a win-win for him.
You have to think several months down the line for that scenario. For Fabio to get there, he's got to beat Jarrell Big Gravy Miller, then he's got to beat Michael Hunter. By then, his buzz will have grown. He will amass even more of a following, at which point, a fight between him and Daniel would be very big. And Frank doesn't have to go through anybody to do it. It's all in-house.
Oh, you can definitely sell that at the O2.
The caveat is, it's not actually a foregone conclusion that Fabio makes it there. Just like Frank said, you have to remember, Fabio doesn't come from some deep amateur background, and for him, Jarrell Miller is a step up in class. I liked his knockout of David Adilier, and I liked his knockout of Frazier Clark, but those are comparatively less experienced professionals than Jarrell Miller.
Stubborn customer. I said it in my previous video and I'll say it again. While Daniel Dubois stopped him, it took a lot for Daniel to stop him. It took a lot, and when he stopped him, it was in the final round of their fight. Can Fabio do that?
Even if he does, he's not out of the woods. He has to face the winner of Hunter versus Pulev that I anticipate is going to be Michael Hunter, who brings a different set of challenges for Fabio, a separate set of challenges. He's not as big and not as physically imposing as Jarrell.
He's more mobile, more agile, more athletic, that when Michael Hunter is on his game, that's what he brings to the table.
A very different fight from the fight that Fabio is about to have. And as much as I like Fabio, I entertain the possibility that he could lose. He could lose the Miller fight.
If he were to go in there and do to Jarrell Miller what he just did to Frazier Clark, that would blow me away.
But I reiterate, it took a lot for Daniel Dubois to get Jarrell Miller out of there.
Daniel was a more experienced fighter going into that fight than Fabio Wardley is now.
Fabio Wardley's very best wins so far are really at domestic level, you could say. Still very good victories, but now he's entering into world level on the world stage. And Jarrell Miller, for all his faults, has proven himself a tough customer, a durable one. And I don't know for sure that Fabio can do to him what he did to Frazier Clark, what he did to David Adilier.
We'll see.